solution for Mossberg 500, 590, and 590 Shockwave 12-gauge shotguns. Available as a red or green laser. Buy it now at crimsontrace.com.
Welcome to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, where a right is always a right, not a privilege.
All right, welcome back. Tom Gresham here. It is Gun Talk. Glad you could be with us today. If you want to join us, it's 866-TALK-GUN, or just call me at Tom Talk Gun. It couldn't be easier. I'm sitting right now, actually you're going to do a little bit of a recorded bit. We're sitting out here at Gunsight at a media event that's put on by Mossberg, and we'll be able to tell you all the things that they're doing, all the new things, but not today. Okay, so we can't do that. But we're joined by John MacLellan from Mossberg. John, head of marketing, sales.
Both of those.
Everything and all of that and more, right?
Yes, and then some.
What do they say? And other duties as assigned?
Duly assigned, correct.
I did notice you raking up shotgun shells on the range. Is that included in your job description?
Whatever it takes.
One of the things, I think Mossberg is a company that people know, but if they haven't really been paying attention in the last 4 or 5 years, they don't really know. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like you guys have done so much.
We've done a lot, and I think it's in recognition of the flexibility that we have as a company and that the owners of our company provide us. So the ability to make decisions, the ability to go out there and listen to our customers. And I think we're doing a much better job listening to our customers. The changes we made with our sales force, going to a direct Mossberg employees
right.
On the road was a dramatic shift for our company, but really got us closer to the customer.
And, of course, you are now a full-line gun company because you have you've always had the shotguns, and then you have a full line of rifles. And, of course, last year you brought out the MC1 SC, a lovely little single-stack pistol, which is going great guns, so to speak.
It's really a fun time to be at Mossberg. Entering new platforms is always a challenge. For years being known as the shotgun company. Yeah, no. And, the reliability that we've, proven, the durability of that product has been proven over the years. As you know, we're celebrating our 100 years. And to be in business that long is credit to a lot of people within that company.
And, it's on the outside, people say, okay, they've been in business 100 years. That's great. They're a successful company. But that doesn't come easily because there are always these dips where you're thinking, man, that was a tough period we had to go through. And, through 100 years, there had to have been a lot of those. Absolutely. And Alan Mossberg has been through those cycles, numerous of them. Ivor has, having recently gone through it, this past summer has been, it's challenging for the industry. It's a tough time to be a gun manufacturer. It is. And, for all the compliance and the challenges you have in our line of work is, you have to make those adjustments. And I think the flexibility and being able to adjust quickly to the demand in the marketplace or lack of demand, making sure that you have that inventory correct. Yeah, because you do not need a full year's worth of guns that aren't selling. That is correct. That's not doing anyone any good. No, it's not. So you also, it's interesting, you are into a lot of different markets. I'm thinking about, imagine just your shotguns alone. All right, so people for a long time knew your shotguns maybe as great pump shotguns for hunters. But then there's a whole different group that said, yeah, but these are great guns that are used by the military and police departments all over. And then you've got, oh, look, you guys have entered into the competition world big time with 3-gun shotguns here. So, I mean, putting aside the rifles and the handguns, you make guns for different markets, but you also have to deal with different markets. Correct. So, understanding where the market's going, I mean, 3-gun is, an example of something that started small and really grew into a cult-type following. And, that group of shooters out there, we're fortunate to have an ambassador like, Jerry and Lena. We were out at the range this morning with them. You couldn't have two finer people. I mean, I've known the family. My family goes back with their family probably 50 or 60 years. I mean, great people. Great people, and if ever there's a perfect alignment of them as people and our company, it's just a great fit. Well, and you get more out of them than just, okay, these are our pro shooters who show up and shoot our product. You're basically using them as consultants and quasi-designers.
I mean, why wouldn't we take advantage of somebody that puts that many rounds through a shotgun and want that feedback? So that's where we learn.
I love their description where they're saying, we actually break Mossberg shotguns. And I'm thinking, how do you do that? Well, we take them into the shop and we grind away metal until we get it just right. And sometimes we go a little bit too far and absolutely destroy a gun, but how else are you going to know what you need? I mean, they're customizing stuff like crazy.
And again, they're the closest to the customer. I mean, they're at these events. They obviously are out there doing a lot of speaking, teaching. So they're in front of our customers. So they get a lot of feedback.
And when you shoot that many rounds, you find out, it's the only way to find out if there are weak areas in a product.
Absolutely.
So they're cranking it out. They come back, talk to you. I know. And the other thing is, you guys go down to Shreveport and spend time with them at the range as well.
We do. And, it's important to, get around in different environments and different usage of that product. So, when we talk about, the semi-auto shotguns, obviously it's 3-gun, whether it's going into waterfowl, whether we're, from a home defense standpoint, and, the LE side of, the segment of the market. So, different platforms have different needs. Going out there in these different environments is important for us to develop the right product and give it to them, at an affordable price as well.
That's the other thing. It's got to be good. It has to last. And I always tell people, there's not many consumer products you buy with the absolute expectation that you can hand it to your children and maybe your grandchildren. That's a lot of pressure for you guys.
It is, but it's pretty cool when you're at a show and you can talk to a customer who just talks about, hey, I've got my first Mossberg.
Right.
Now the bluing might be coming off, but they're still using it, and they're still proud to be an owner of Mossberg.
It was my dad's, or it was my granddad's, and They're still using it. And, of course, well into the rifle market, bolt actions as well as the semi-autos, the MSRs.
Yeah, the Patriot line of rifles has come a long way, and the changes in that rifle platform. And I'll also talk about, the additions of calibers like the 6.5 Creedmoor and most recently the 6.5 PRC.
I was just going to say, the PRC is the one that I've been starting to pay attention to that. And it was one of those, honestly, when I first looked at it, I thought, God, another Me Too caliber. Why do we need this? It's like, yeah. And I tell you, it is a great caliber.
Our testing on that round has been tremendous. I mean, this is sub MOA consistently.
Wow. Okay. Talk to me about the advantages you have of being a family-owned company.
I think probably the best advantage we have out there is, again, we're a relatively flat organization. So we were kidding around earlier about just the multiple hats you have to wear. But, the people that work there, we're willing to do whatever we have to do, to get the job done. And I think the family allows us, and I think, to make decisions. And it's great to be in that environment. It also gives us the ability to react quicker to some of the changes in the marketplace.
You don't have to go through a big structure to get a yes.
That is correct. I mean, listen, we're all involved in meetings, and
sure.
But we look to have productive meetings to try to, answer the question, move on to the next subject, and get things in queue and prioritize certain, product lines if we're talking about new products coming to the market.
I also think there's an advantage to not being publicly traded where you have stock market analysts who give you an expectation every 3 months. Every quarter you have to meet that. And that's got to be a different kind of pressure or challenge as opposed to just saying, let's just do what we need to do.
It's different. I'd say that, we still have expectations. And
no doubt, I'm sure.
But it is different. And I think at the end of the day, it's MacLellan of Mossberg's company, and their name on the product.
Right.
And if a product's not ready, it's a decision. It's not going to market. We're fortunate to have, the engagement of, within the company as small as we are working with. We don't have the silos between the marketing, sales, right, engineering. But again, it's communicating because we do have a plant in Eagle Pass, Texas.
Right.
Where you've got two sites. Communication is always, a challenge.
And the other side is where? Where
corporate is in North Haven, Connecticut.
Okay, North Haven, Connecticut.
Correct.
And this is going to sound weird, maybe, or maybe you take it for granted. I don't know. But we've been here for several days at Gunsight. They were watching your team moving around and doing things, okay? And one thing I have noticed, it really has become evident to me, is that your team likes each other. They are having fun doing this. They all pitch in. I don't care if it's loading up the back of the truck or whatever it is, pulling all the guns out or doing whatever it takes. There is a corporate culture at Mossberg that is very different from some other places, I guess would be the way I'd put it.
And I agree with that, and thank you for that, because I think it's a compliment to, the people that come on board and are, been with Mossberg. And, the culture is, listen, it's okay to have fun at work. We're in an industry that is second to none. I mean, it's just a very close-knit family.
Right.
And within that, I think, we're able to work closely with each other. We're going to have disagreements with like any company, but, at the end of the day, we're working together for the end result.
Well, what I see is that you have people who came to Mossberg from other gun companies, but you also have people who came to Mossberg from other industries, but they were gun people. There's like, oh, God, I was talking to somebody here. You know who I'm talking about. He said, yeah, I actually was looking at two different jobs, and the other one paid a whole lot more than this. I would have been making a lot more. But, oh, my gosh, I get to be at Mossberg, and we're making guns. That's so cool. That's neat.
Yeah, and it is, and having the different platforms, whether it's lever action rifles, bolt action rifles, we cover the whole gamut.
Right.
And most recently, to be involved in the recent release of the last year with the MC1 pistol, it's exciting, when you enter a new market.
Yeah.
And for us, you can look at the deep water and kind of, look at where the next one comes in.
Well, yeah, and you've been, we've seen some things here, and you've kind of given us a look into the future. You guys are looking down the road with some of the other things you're doing. It's pretty cool.
We absolutely are, and it's exciting. A challenging time right now with, as we look at retail sales, and there's some challenges out there. But again, you adjust your company accordingly, and.
You know what my daddy told me? He says, if you didn't have problems, you wouldn't have a job.
That's exactly right.
There it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. But it's, as we say, it beats digging ditches when you get to make guns and sell guns and shoot guns and all the rest of the stuff we do.
It's all fun.
It is. John, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thanks for having me out here with this wonderful group. And in just a few weeks, we'll be able to tell you about the new things that are being introduced here, okay?
Very good. Thanks, Tom.
Absolutely. You take care. All righty. Don't go far. Gun Talk will be right back.
Built to perform in the harshest conditions, the Ruger American pistol can take it all, from ice to dust and everything in between. The Ruger American pistol features a short take-up trigger, Novak sights, and a recoil-reducing barrel cam with low-mass slide for reduced felt recoil, plus a modular grip system with 3 sizes to fit almost any hand. Check it out at Ruger.com. The Ruger American pistol, because anything else would be un-American.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Brownells.com is your home for all things firearms. Looking for a retro rifle? How about the BRN 180 or 180S? Named one of SHOT Show's best products of 2019. Visit Brownells.com for guns, ammo, reloading equipment, or anything you need to customize your firearm. And enjoy the industry's only guaranteed forever satisfaction policy. To stay up to date with the latest and best deals from Brownells, text BRN to 556-223.
We're back. 866 Talk Gun, or if you just want to call in and complain about something, I'm your guy. Just call me at Tom Talk Gun. If you don't like guns, if you just stumbled upon this, or maybe you've been stalking me on Facebook, because it seems like there's some folks doing that, cool. Give me a call. We'll talk about it. Honestly, I'll let you have your say. If you think, all right, you gun guys, as one of them on Facebook this week said, you're a cult because you don't care if children are murdered as long as you get to play with your toys. I'm not making it up. That's what she said. Had some other choice words. A lot of them start with an F. Interesting. When challenged, they take it personally if you won't buy into their nonsense. And when you say, you might want to look at some other sources of information other than the gun ban lobby. But no, they like where they are. There's a real feeling of superiority that we're just too stupid or callous or mean or awful or white supremacist, which always makes me laugh when you look at the African American Gun Owners Association, which, by the way, filed an amicus brief in this case that will be argued tomorrow at the Supreme Court of the United States. Yeah, the black white supremacist kind of makes your head spin on that one, doesn't it? All right, we're racing toward the holiday season here. We're in it. We're in the midst of it now. First of all, quick question for you. Did you find any good, cool Black Friday sales, anything going on? Because it's still going on right now, of course. It's kind of an ongoing deal. Good deals that you have found, that you're taking advantage of, that you're going to take advantage of. You can share, you can let us know, and also you can just kind of, brag. Hey, I found a good deal. 866 Talk Gun. Also, I was thinking about gifts for yourself, for others, whatever. And I mentioned here, for a lot of folks, it's that old, what you put into things, it's what you get out of things. And I would encourage people, if you're listening to this, to consider, if you would, consider becoming a firearms instructor, a certified firearms instructor. First of all, in the process of doing that, you will learn a lot. It's that old deal. If you really want to learn how to do something, start teaching it. And that certainly is true. And you can get NRA certification in a lot of different areas. I think if you will do that, you will, particularly if you've been shooting a long time, you will find a new avenue for your enthusiasm. If you haven't been doing this for 50 years, fairly new to it, you will find that you have a voice that a lot of people need to listen to, particularly if you're younger, if you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s. You're a voice, you can reach out to people and they will listen to you. So becoming a firearms instructor, particularly if you're a woman, and I've mentioned that before, I think is really important. Also, if you're a woman, really seriously, consider joining one of the women's gun groups out there. There are several of them now. Girl with a Gun, the Well-Armed Women. There's several out there. All of them doing good work. Some of them providing instruction. If you are an instructor with one of those groups, please continue to get training, not incestuous training among the same people you hang around with. Go out and find other trainers and learn from them. See how they work. Take other classes. I know trainers who go and take other classes just to see how other trainers instruct. Now, on to the hardware. Things that you ought to think about adding to your list. A really good .22 rifle, possibly suppressed if you really want to have fun. And maybe what are the adult air guns? There's so many out there now that are really good and accurate and powerful, and you can hunt with them, do all sorts of things. So just some thoughts for you. Just kind of think about this, all right? Let's see here. Let's drop down to line 5. Bill's with us out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, Bill, you got a book recommendation for me?
Good afternoon, Tom. Yeah, it's kind of a range report, more like a book report.
Okay.
I read the book recommended on Gun Talk a couple of weeks ago, Why Meadow Died, about the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas high school shooting in Parkland, Florida.
Written by the father of Meadow, and he dug into it to find out not what was in the stories that were put out, but what actually happened to this.
Yes, and he sure did dig into it, and it's a very compelling book. I almost have to recommend you don't read it. It is infuriating. The incompetence, the self-congratulatory, the people culpable, the number of opportunities they had to stop that, and every little thing that was just handled badly, poorly, wrong, that contributed to the outcome. It's a very compelling book.
I want to mention, Bill, you mentioned the opportunities that were missed to stop that. We're not talking about after the shots were fired. Again, it's clear there are opportunities that were missed where people didn't go in where they could have and should have. We're talking about not 1 or 2 or 10, but we're talking about dozens and dozens of opportunities where they knew something was wrong, where the police were involved, where the school was involved, and nobody would do anything about it.
Sure, and those opportunities went back easily a year or 2 before the shooting started, and plenty of opportunity, and any reasonable person would have said, wait, you can't do it this way. And then they congratulated themselves on how well they handled it afterwards and ignored any common sense.
It was a complete debacle, and the incompetence went up and down the line from the school to the police to the FBI to everybody else. And now we have this brand new Secret Service study that's come out about school shooters and how to identify them. And it's almost as if they read this book, Why Meadow Died, to say, look, you can identify these people ahead of time. You just have to start listening, and then you have to take action. And when you're called to the place, when you see what's going on, you have to have the guts to actually do something. Great book, Why Meadow Died, on your reading list.
This is Milo Lardbottom, Junior Under Assistant Deputy to the Assistant Director of Deputy Affairs for the Department of Homeland Security, with a special message for listeners of Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. We know who you are. We know where you are. You're right by your radio. We have special cameras that can see into your radio. I have a special monitor built into my aluminum foil helmet. We are watching you. So don't try anything funny, Buster.
Wouldn't do it, wouldn't think of it. Thank you very much. Tom Gresham here, 6 Talk Gun. The show is called Gun Talk because, well, we talk about guns, but we talk about a lot of different things. Peter's with us right now out of South Carolina, line 4. Peter, you got a range report for us.
Good evening, Tom. And, well, not a range report, but about a year ago, when I was listening to you, you had a fellow on from Surefire who said they were running a really special Christmas sale on their Sidekick little pocket flashlights. Right. And, of course, I jumped on the Internet, and it was a really super deal, and I bought a bag full to use for stocking stuffers.
Stocking stuffers,
so forth. But, of course, I kept one. I charged it up and put it in my pocket. And a year later, I have not yet had to recharge that. Now, I don't use it, every day. Probably 2 or 3 times a week I'll pull it out when I drop something that rolls under a desk, or I walk out to the car at night and I need a light to find the keyhole for to get the ignition. But like I say, I've been using it regularly for a little bit at a time, and a year later I have not yet recharged it, which, to me, most rechargeable things after a month or 2 or 3, they're dead whether you use them or not.
Sure.
So I'm really impressed that this is, always ready to go, and it's been very handy.
That's pretty typical of stuff that Surefire makes. It's a higher quality. I'm looking at it online now. For those that want to look it up, it's called the Surefire Sidekick. It is a keychain light, but it is insanely bright. It's got 3 different settings, like low, medium, and high. We put it on high. It's crazy bright. My wife has one on her keychain and uses it all the time. And I have to remind her to charge it now and then. Maybe I don't need to. Maybe we, and they recharge. It's a USB recharger, so you can just plug it into a cell phone wall charger or something like that. Where do you keep yours? Do you keep it on a keychain?
No, it's just loose in my pocket.
Interesting.
And I just, I just pull it out when I need it, and it's
while we're talking here,
very helpful.
I just jumped on Amazon and looking. They have the Surefire Sidekick as looks like maybe this may be part of a Cyber Monday deal. I'm not sure, but it's $29.99 with the Prime delivery, and I think we probably got them a little bit less than that back then a year ago, that promotion. But originally, this was an $80 light.
And it was 80% off for the promotion they ran.
Right. So it's still at $29.95. It's a great light. I'm a real fan of it. The micro USB charging thing. You know what I've done? I don't know, just a thought for you. Because I have a phone charger set up in my car. So when I'm driving, I can plug my phone in. And I just take an extra cable that has the USB mini plug, and I can plug a flashlight in for these rechargeable flashlights like this. And that way I just kind of top them off every now and then, and I never think about it. But yours is the most amazing report. The idea that you have a rechargeable flashlight that you haven't charged in a year and it still works is incredible.
And, and it's bright. It will hurt your eyes if you look into it at this point. It's not like it's just a dim little yellow glow. It's still really bright. And I just had to let you know that I was really impressed.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time, and it's a good product from a good company, and I appreciate that. And Jim just sent me a note that his daughter loves hers. It says, "Great Christmas gift." Yes, I agree. That's why I mentioned it. Hey, you can jump on Amazon. It's called the Surefire Sidekick, and it's really good. Were we able to get Dan back? I know he had a phone problem there, so I don't know if we have him back or not. You know what? If we do. Okay, let's grab Dan on line 2 out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hey, Dan, I thank you for being with us, sir.
Yes, sir. Missed your show on right after the Supreme Court decision on the Remington case. Where they weren't going to hear it.
Yes.
And I would like you to talk me off the ledge.
Okay, I can do that because I joined you right on the ledge there when that happened. This was the case with Bushmaster where in Connecticut, Remington/Bushmaster was sued after the Newtown shootings, holding them responsible, and then it was appealed all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says, no, we're not going to hear this. It wasn't what I thought. So stay with me for a second. I'll try to explain it as best I understand it.
Okay.
There's this law, the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, which was passed, 15, 20 years ago, after all these cities tried to sue the gun companies out of existence. And Congress said, no, you cannot hold a company responsible for the misuse of a non-defective product. That is, if you make a product that works the way it's supposed to, and it's a safe product, you can't blame the company if somebody misuses it, which makes sense. I think we would all agree with that. I thought that's what was going on here. Turns out that what the Supreme Court said was, look, we can look at that later, but it's too early in the process for this to go to the Supreme Court. So we're going to send it down to the lower court level. It had not even been tried there. They bumped it up to the Supreme Court to try to challenge it on the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. And the Supreme Court said, no, nothing's been decided. It hasn't even gone through a lawsuit. It hasn't gone to court yet. So what Connecticut is saying is that this, let me see how to explain this. They actually are not saying that Remington was responsible for the shooting death because of anything they did. They're saying you actually advertised it in a way to make the product attractive to youngsters by showing the military using the gun. It's a unique way of trying to get around the law and as a way of trying to basically put all gun companies out of business. I mean, make no mistake, that's what this is about. But I was right there with you. It turns out that what the Supreme Court did, they did not ignore that law. They just sent it back and said, look, guys, it's too early. Go back, try the case. And then if, you get through the process and it goes through appellate court, and then you can bring it up to us and we can take a look at it then, but not yet.
Okay.
what I have been told by people who are keen observers of this is they told me, just cool it, Tom. Cool your jets. It's going to be okay. We think we're going to win this at the lower court level. We were just trying to figure out if we could just get it stopped immediately. But now we have to go through discovery, and we have to go through that, which is, expensive. We didn't want to have to do it. We think we're still going to win it, but it's going to be a harder slog at this point. But at least I can breathe a sigh of relief. The Supreme Court didn't negate the PLCAA law. Thank goodness.
Okay.
So that's where we are right now.
That's good to know, because it was getting cold out here on the window. So
way out there on the ledge.
On the ledge,
wind's picking up. All right. Well, look, I appreciate the call, sir, and you're good. It's good of us to pay attention to this stuff. 866-TALK-GUN. Looking for range reports. Where are you buying? What do you think about buying? And were you one of those folks like me who got those surefire sidekicks? Man, that's an incredible report that he hasn't charged it in a year and it's still working. That's just, well, of course, like I say, my wife hasn't charged hers up. Unless I charge it for her, she's probably never going to, but it works just fine. 866-TALK-GUN.
Built to perform in the harshest conditions, the Ruger American pistol can take it all, from ice to dust and everything in between. The Ruger American pistol features a short take-up trigger, Novak sights, and a recoil-reducing barrel cam with low-mass slide for reduced felt recoil, plus a modular grip system with 3 sizes to fit almost any hand. Check it out at Ruger.com. The Ruger American pistol, because anything else would be un-American.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Brownells.com is your home for all things firearms. Looking for a retro rifle? How about the BRN 180 or 180S? Named one of SHOT Show's best products of 2019. Visit Brownells.com for guns, ammo, reloading equipment, or anything you need to customize your firearm. And enjoy the industry's only guaranteed forever satisfaction policy. To stay up to date with the latest and best deals from Brownells, text BRN to 556-223.
Think about holidays, gifts, things like that. Security stuff, safety stuff. You know how I am. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's locks and lights and fire extinguishers. I'm kind of big on the fire extinguisher thing. Oh, yeah, after the house fire? Yeah, that's kind of a big thing for us. Make sure you have them. And part 2, and this may sound crazy, but ask everybody in your family if they actually know how to use a fire extinguisher. I get it. It's simple, right? It's pull the pin, aim, you pull, you squeeze, and then you sweep, all right? So pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. You will be amazed how many people have no idea. People who have no mechanical curiosity, never looked at it and went, oh, yeah, okay, that's how it works. Explain it, okay? Just explain it to them. And think about the other safety security things. Lights are critical. I mean, I always have 2 flashlights in my pocket. Always, always, always. Why? Because 1 is none and 2 is 1. And I use them all the time. We were just talking about the Surefire Sidekick. It's a really good little pocket flashlight or keychain flashlight. And the other thing is, perhaps, maybe consider taking one of those Stop the Bleed classes, learn how to use tourniquets. It's not intuitive, and what you learned in Boy Scouts is wrong. All right? Or let's just say not quite right. We have better information now. And carry a tourniquet with you. Just thoughts. Maybe put your family rather, through a class in that and CPR and all the rest of it. Mark's with us on line 4 out of Hawaii. Hey, Mark. Welcome to Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
I am great. That's a long way. You got to speak up if you're calling all the way from Hawaii, you know.
Yeah. So I've got a quick range report for a place in Nashville. My daughter moved there a little over a year ago, and she's grown up. I'm an NRA instructor, and she's grown up shooting, and but she never had her own pistol, and so we went to the Royal Range, owned by Scott McWilliams. Really nice people. We went in. She got to try half a dozen different handguns, including a Ruger SP-101 shooting a .38 Special, and she settled on the SIG P365, and their price was as good as anywhere on the internet. So we just walked out with that gun, and she's a happy camper.
You just said something I'd like to repeat for people, though. It's an interesting point. You went to a local range. She got to try different guns. And then she bought the gun, and the price was as good as you could get on the internet. Once again, let me emphasize, go to your local shooting range, your local gun store. They have good prices on stuff, and you get to handle them. And, oh, yeah, you're going to support your local businesses. All right, so why the P365? Is she getting her carry permit?
Yeah, she's going to get a carry permit, and they also had a purse holster that has a Velcro flip-down panel that you flip it down, and the gun's sitting in a holster right there on the side of the purse. And so she got that, too. And because Nashville's a great place for music, and, you know, they're out late, and she's diminutive. She's about 4'10" and about 90 pounds.
Well, also, I mean, and you know the drill, since you're an instructor, have her take some classes or a class with a good self-defense instructor, and have her working out of the holster, out of the purse, so she learns how to handle it, how to draw from it, how to make sure that if she's drawing from it, her left hand is on the strap and pulls it out of the way, so she makes sure her hand is clear. It's like all this stuff, but if she does a lot of draws, a lot of practice with that.
Royal Range is also affiliated with Gunsight, and they have great instructors. And she's already halfway through with what you're talking about.
Well, never mind then. You got this. All right, so I also see a note here. You're into Ruger number ones.
I bought my first Ruger number 1 20 years ago. It's a 4-digit serial number, made in 1968. And it's in .308 caliber.
Yeah.
And I bought it because I took one look at that rifle and the wood and the style. It was just the most gorgeous rifle I've ever seen. But it didn't shoot well when I first got it. I'd had a hard time getting 2.5 inches out of it at 100 yards until I figured that quarter rib was suspect, and I went to EA Brown online and got their Pick-to-Me rail.
Right.
And it's a 3/4-inch gun all day long.
Holy cow. I mean, look, I love number ones. I mean, you know, you've heard me talk about them. People, if you haven't seen one, you ought to treat yourself. Go look at a Ruger number 1, either online, even better, go look at a store, pick it up, look at it, you go, wow. This thing has such great lines. It's so beautiful. It's such like a piece of history, except it's a modern rifle. And oh yeah, by the way, when they first came out, honestly, what Mark's talking about, a lot of them didn't shoot as well. We had to figure out how to get them to shoot. Today, they're shooting really well out of the box. I just took 3 of them to the range, and they're all shooting 3/4 of an inch right out of the box. Amazing. Love, love, love the Ruger number 1. 866-TALK-GUN, looking for your range report. Back with you. Here's one I hadn't had before. Bob's with us out of San Antonio, Texas on one. Hey, Bob, lead, bullets, and ARs? What's going on here?
Well, I'm finishing up what I know there's a gun out there in 300 blackout called the Honey Badger, so I think of mine kind of like the Trash Panda.
Okay.
And anyway, I'm using a PSA upper, finishing up an Anderson lower, so it's kind of a budget approach.
Okay.
But decent stuff. And anyway, so I'd really like to use lead bullets for subsonic, just for cheap clinking.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned if that would be any issue with my gas port.
I don't know. I will tell you, I have honestly never had the question before of using lead bullets in an AR. I don't know anybody who's using cast bullets. And I see where you're saying you could end up maybe clogging things up. I don't know, but I say go for it, and then let us know how it works out.
Yeah, I can always take it down and clean things if I run into trouble. So, and then I was also thinking possibly paper patch, because that would be fun for the supersonics. Just for grins.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I take it you're an experienced bullet caster and shooter of lead bullets. If you're talking about paper patching, you understand what's going on there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's something I like. But and so I just thought, well, that might be kind of fun. Just anyway.
Well, and of course, then you say, well, if I'm going to do that, then what I really need to do is I need to get a piston AR, so I'll eliminate all the problems. And you're going, okay, now we have just upped the ante on everything else, but I kind of like where you're going, because if there's no point doing it if you cannot make it complicated.
Well, I was thinking one other thing, and that's I'm planning one more build, because AR is just kind of multiplying your gun safe. I was planning one other build. I was thinking of doing one without a gas system, doing a straight pull.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy that did a thing he called the Solo 300, where he built a pistol along those lines, a one-hand pistol.
Right.
And so I was thinking of doing the same thing with a somewhat longer barrel and making kind of a pistol with a brace. And then I could ease the thing shut each time, and I'd be able to shoot whatever the heck I want in it.
And then if you keep doing that, you could eventually end up with the Remington XP100 bolt-action pistol.
Yeah, except this can accept a 10 or 20 or 30 round mag, and it's
I hear you. I know. I see where you are. I love what you're doing, though. Here's what I want you to do. Carry on, do all of this stuff, and then give us a call back and give us a range report, because now I'm curious. I'm just, like I say, I've never heard of that before, using cast bullets and an AR. I'm curious how it works, so we'll do that. Let's see, Jim, we probably don't have time to okay, Paul, don't go anywhere. We're going to pull you into the after show, because we're going to have talk about a Christmas present for himself. And also would love to get you to wade in or weigh in, both. You can do both. On the after show with us, which will be coming along in just a second. Just call us at 866-TALK-GUN. I'm thinking about Christmas presents. I know it drives some of the anti-gun people crazy, but you know what? Guns for kids is a good idea, whether it's a Red Ryder, a BB gun. We were talking about that CZ22 the other day, or actually a little bit earlier in the show. Smith & Wesson has the little AR-22s, which are great. Got these collapsible stocks. They're just really cool. And, of course, with all of that comes your time. Spending time with youngsters, teaching them to shoot, making sure those guns, by the way, are absolutely, no kidding, locked up so they can't get to them when you're not there. But the responsibility that comes from giving them that responsibility of trusting them while you're there all the time is amazing. In fact, if you have given or received guns as a Christmas present, I would love to hear about that. You can call me right now. We'll talk about it during the after show. Again, 866-TALK-GUN. In the meantime, when you're buying a gun for somebody, why not buy them a lesson, some training at the same time? It's really worthwhile. Go out and do some shooting. Take somebody with you, and I'll report on this SCOTUS case next week.